case where a dog is destructive in the house, well, first of all, if he's still teething, if he's in the age of cutting until 8 months of age, from 4 months to 8 months, that's another story because he needs to chew. But in this case, especially with the breed of dog, being a dominant dog, a shepherd is bred to protect. Dogs want to protect us. So if the man would walk the dog, walk, then rest, then feed, because the walk represents our search for food, our hunt for food. So we look for food, we come back, the dog doesn't eat first. You don't have to eat first, but the dog does not eat first. That's what the rest period is. And then he eats because he's a pack member. If you do walk, rest, feed, if you set rules in your house, the dog is just going to go lay down because it's not his house. Now, everybody saw I had my dog up on my lap. I've invited them up. I invited him up. He's not just going to jump up on me, but I'll bet you most people's dogs just jump up whenever the dog wants to. I wanted him in my lap. I know he's 90 pounds, but I love him, and I wanted him to come up, and I gave him a hug, but it was under my terms, and I didn't have him jump. The man with the German Shepherd needs to walk his dog, then rest his dog, then feed his dog. He needs to set rules. He needs to provide the 4 essentials so that he can become the leader. That's all that's happening. That dog was just frantic, trying to find his pack member and trying to protect his pack member. And because he couldn't get out there, he was going to rip his house up because he wanted to know where his pack member was. That's what separation anxiety is. And we've seen dogs chew through walls. There was somebody in New York City who had a little French bulldog that chewed through a plaster wall into the neighbor's apartment trying to get at him. He came home and had just his whole wall ripped up by a little 15-pound dog. So the whole problem is we need to teach the dogs where they're leaders. We're not going to be mad. We're not going to be frustrated. We're never going to get angry. But the dogs are our pack members, like our children. You know what happens to people who don't, teach their kids. They wind up hitting other kids. They wind up getting in trouble. Maybe they don't grow up to be the best, and maybe they grow up and they land in jail. But if we teach our dogs and we understand that the dog isn't doing things to piss us off. I was with this lady today, and she said it's almost like she does things to annoy me. No, she's doing things because you're not. She's barking because you're not protecting. And when you yell at her or you reprimand her, which this lady did not do, but most people do, they'll yell at the dog. You're just barking louder than they are. Most important thing, if you can do nothing else, is don't free feed, which he probably was doing with the shepherd. Walk, rest, feed, and set rules for your dog like you'd set rules for your kids. I know we have another question. You can put that one on, and maybe Mark will take that one.
You have Anna once again from the United Kingdom.
Hey, Anna.
Hi, Janice. Hi, Mark. And I'm not sure whether it's the same in the United States as it is in the United Kingdom, but we have breeds here that become popular from time to time. If you were advising somebody who was going to choose a dog, what would you advise to look for? I'm not meaning specifics, but I'm meaning general characteristics, because what I've noticed is that you can breed, because a breed becomes popular, you can breed the faults into it, and that to me is a real big problem. What would you advise if you were going to look for a dog?
Actually, hey Mark, can I grab this one?
Okay.
Sorry. You're getting me on the pedestal to Judge Harding and Son talk here, because I talk about it with any animal, whether it's a horse, it's a dog, it's a ferret, it's a bird. Whatever animal you get and you bring into your life, first of all, when you get that animal, please keep that animal until it dies. Provide for it. Don't give it up because, hey, 101 Dalmatians was great and popular, and guess what? Dalmatians are a high-energy breed. They're not really good for the average person who lives in the city and isn't going to take the dog out and give it a job. Make sure that the dog you choose, not just, oh, I like it, it's pretty. Make sure the temperament fits. For instance, if I had $1 for every person who said, oh my God, you have 8 Ridgebacks, You must live on a massive farm. I would be so rich. Guess what Ridgeback's favorite pastime is? Sleeping. Guess what their next favorite pastime is? Eating. Guess what their last favorite pastime is? Playing for 15 minutes a day. They're not high energy dogs. There are other breeds that are also low energies. Look into a breed or a particular, if you're looking for a breed, look for something that has the qualities that you can live with. I say it this way, all the women out there, think about the perfect man. And instead of marrying a man and turning him into the perfect man, find the perfect man. Because it's the same thing with a dog or a human. You cannot change what's bred into them. So although, yes, we can change any dog, you don't need us to tell you what kind of dog to get. Go to breeders. Look at dogs. If you're a very active family, great. You can have an Australian cattle dog or a husky or a sheltie. But if you're a 78-year-old woman, like we had a client, 78-year-old woman, her 2 children bought her a Labradoodle puppy. She was on a walker. I mean, we're going to write another book called Dumbest Things People Have Done in History. That's going to be it. Because it doesn't make sense. And what you're doing is, by having a dog that is not really going to fit into your life, and it's an unusual breed, if you don't know what what you're doing with that, what you're actually doing is setting yourself up for failure. That's ridiculous. That's like marrying somebody who's a drug addict and saying, well, I'm going to change him. He's going to stop doing drugs. No. If you buy a border collie and you have a farm and you herd sheep and you're going to take the dog out, you're going to give him a job, great. They're great dogs. But don't buy a 100-pound dog if you have small children and you're buying a boxer. They're great dogs, but they jump, they box. That's what it is. So just be sensible. It's like buying a car, except the car you can sell and it doesn't have feelings. If you have 8 kids, you're not going to buy a Corvette. I mean, you may to get rid of the 8 kids and to have fun away from them. You're going to buy a van. If you're retired and you want to have fun, you're not going to buy a full-size, van. You're going to buy a Corvette. Just get the kind of dog that fits into your family. Forget about what they look like. The temperament is going to be much more important. Okay, we have somebody else for a question?
So far, no, Janice and Mark, but I got to tell you, my car does have feelings. I mean, you may disagree with me, but I try to treat my car nice.
Well, mine actually is named, but let's talk, since we don't have any questions for a minute, I'm going to bring up something and then I'm going to have Mark finish it, because a lot of times people will say, hey, what is the most common complaint people have? I would say there are 2. Dogs dragging people, pulling them down the street on a leash or towards other dogs, whatever, but pulling on a leash. The second thing is jumping on people. You'll hear us talk about dominant behavior.